So in the last 2 months, I have seen my social media, my visibility take a very rapid growth, right? I have experienced a rapid growth on my socials. Uh, I literally went from, okay, I entered this year with 7,000 followers on my Instagram. I'm currently on 60 something thousand followers. And this growth actually started somewhere around May, right? Somewhere around May, I hit 10K, and from May till August, I have been able to hit like 60K, right? So it's been rapid, it's been viral, right? This is obviously because I've had a couple of my content go viral. A couple of my content have just poof, blown up, right? And I mean, when it happened initially, right, the first time this happened, it was an error, it was a mistake. It wasn't really a mistake. It was I was still experimenting and checking it out. But after it happened the first time, I had to find and I saw that it worked. I brought it back, researched on it, and I now started using this strategy. And following the first one, the first content I put out, it's been repeated. It's been a repetitive case, right? So it's not a mistake, it's not an error, it's something that is tried and trusted, and I have seen that it works, right? So um in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can go viral. And I'm not telling you, of course, going viral is not the goal. It's not always the goal. It's very possible to go viral and not convert, not get any results from going viral. But in this video, I'm showing you how to go viral the right way, in a way that brings your audience, where your content reaches your target audience, right? Because that's exactly what happened to me. Because that's exactly what happened to me, right? I went viral the right way, so I reached my target audience. And trust me, anyone that says, "Oh, it's not about going viral," that's true. It's not about going viral, but when you experience virality, you would experience an equivalent growth in anything you're doing, right? For instance, I had a lot of digital products, right, on my socials. When the virality started, it was impacted on my digital product, right? People started to buy more of my products. Like there was a hike in my sales. Everything started to increase. I got more clients. People started to reach out to me and book my services. Why? Because I went viral the right way. I reached my target audience and I was able to convert a percentage of the people that came to my page. Okay, so let's talk about how you can go viral, because trust me, it's very necessary. If you run a business, anything you do at home, right, you need to taste the impact of virality the right way. Remember, if you go viral just because you want to go viral, it will be crazy, because people would come, but they won't stay. Or even if they stay, they won't be really interested in what you do, because you just called everyone, you didn't call your audience, right? But if you call your audience, they would stay, they would buy, they'll become your customers. Right now, when this started to happen to me, I realized that I was implementing some of the methods that I had learned from a book. I read a book about 3 years ago, and since then I have continually read that book. I always reread it, repeat it, because it's been very helpful to me, right? And that book is Contagious. Yeah, it's Contagious by Jonah Bedjar. It's a very great book. It teaches you why things catch on, how to go why virality happens, why ideas catch other people. And I noticed that some of the methods that I was implementing, it was from the things I picked up from this book. So yes, in this video, I'm going to it's a detailed video where I'm showing you exactly what I implemented. I'm going to pick the formula that Jonah gave us in this book, and I'm going to use that formula to show you how I applied it and how you can also apply it in your content or your business or whatever it is you do to help you go viral, help your product sell faster, help your service be more visible, or just help you generally, your brand, your personal brand, whatever it is you do. That was quite an introduction, but yeah, I just want you to understand what exactly we are doing in this video. So now let's get into the main video. So first off, I'm going to show you the steps that, how coincidental. So the steps that Jonah mentioned in this book, he used an acronym to represent them, and that acronym is STEPS. I know it was a coincidence, right? The acronym is STEPS, right? PPS. So it's not just one P here. So that is acronym for how to actually create something that is viral. So now let's look into it. The first one is S, and that is social currency. Talking about social currency, Jonah made me understand that human beings have currency. Human beings, they have social currency, right? People feel better when, when you perceive them a certain way. So people want to look smart, people want to sound funny, people want to look beautiful, people want to look put together. These are currencies that, so that when they appear you can see, oh, this person is so smart, and so you could leverage the need for people's social currency when you are creating your product or creating your content or whatever it is you're doing, and you want it to get a wider reach. For instance, right, something that you should ask, a question that you should ask before you put out anything, any content, any product, whatever it is, a question you should ask is, does this content make my audience look smart? Does it make them look funny? Does it make them look ahead of every other person? Does it make them look put together, beautiful, calm? These are things that people want to feel. People want to, even if they don't feel it, they want others to perceive them that way. It's called social currency, right? And so if you can create something that makes people feel smart, for instance, if you share a hack, if you share tips, if you share some things that a lot of people don't know, right? When someone sees and says, I didn't know this. Oh, now I know it. Let me share so that my audience can know it. But not just so that my audience can know it, so that my audience can know that I know it, right? So it's social currency, how you are perceived. People want to be perceived the right way. So if you use social currency the right way, then your content, your product, your service, it will take off, right? And then it will make people share, it will make people discuss it, it will make people talk about your product. And the more they talk about it, the more other people get to know about it, and they'll come running back to your page because I want to be a part of this thing. Okay, so social currency. Now the second step there, which is T, is triggers. Something that smart people do in viral content, if you notice, they are always using the content always in line with things that we do daily, things that you have to do in everyday life, things that you come across in everyday life, right? People tie their content to daily routines, and that's what triggers is about, right? I think someone that does this a lot is Eric Gugwa. Does this a lot in his content. So Eric takes the basic things that happen in daily life and he makes content out of them. So he takes very things that you are most likely to encounter in your day-to-day activity. He take them, create them, use them to make content, right? And you can see that whenever you want to remember this thing that happened, you remember, oh, Eric shot a content like this. And before you know it, you're sharing, you're talking about it. A lot of people are knowing Eric and virality, right? So yes, triggers, use when you want to shoot content, when you want to do something, make sure you tie it to things that a lot of people do. Basically, people always handle this in day-to-day activity. Traffic, people are always in traffic, people are on the road, people. So when they do that, when you have a content related to these things that ties them in, people can easily remember, oh, this guy showed this, or let me even post this, this is what's my current state, this is happening to me right now. You're sharing, you're getting more viral. All right, so triggers. Now the E there stands for emotions. And this one, I 100% support it. Emotions, right? People, if you make people feel, they will share. If you make people feel, if you're able to evoke a strong emotion in people, they're going to share whatever it is that you put out, right? So something that you want to do is make sure your content has some sort of emotion. It doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be a sad emotion. It can be very happy. It can be you're making people very happy. You're making people scared. You're making people alert. You're making people shocked, surprised. These are emotions that are strong. And if you leverage them, people feel these things strong enough, they will share. I've watched a couple of things online where I cried, right? I think that was one of the emotions that sells very well. When you cry, when you feel something deeply. And for instance, this content about them people being kind, strangers. I just literally go online and watch strangers being kind. When you see a child suffering, or it's a plot, they're acting, but you see someone going through something and you go to help. Someone is acting like they're blind and you go to support, and they're using a slow sound. And before you know it, I'm crying, and before you know it, I'm sharing because oh my god, this is so emotional. So that's the tactics, right? It's a very great tactic that you can try to use. Emotions, it doesn't have to be sad. It can be any emotion. Just tie your content to something. Let people feel something when they read your work, or see your product or anything, so they can share it or talk about it with people. All right, so that's the third one. Now, the fourth P there is public. You need to ensure that whatever it is you're doing is getting seen, is getting visible. If people cannot see what you do, they're not going to talk about it. You know, there's this new thing that artists are doing with TikTok right now, that they come on TikTok and then they create a challenge. Maybe they release a song and they create a challenge with that song and maybe a dance, right? That is using that song. And suddenly you discover that because the dance is simple, it's public, people see the dance and it's easy to replicate. People do that dance using the same sound. And as you're promoting the dance, you are unintentionally promoting the sound, which is the original intent of the author. Do you understand? So yes, something you can do is try to make your stuff public, try to make it replicable, something that people can easily okay. You know how CapCut now has templates, you know, you can create templates on TikTok, people can go there and okay, they do use your template. By using these things that you have used, smartly embed what you want them to share. They are unadvertently sharing what you want them to share. More eyes are seeing it. I know a lot of songs that normally these songs will not even be popular. Nobody would know these songs. But then the musicians, when they release the songs, they go on TikTok and go on other platforms and try to create a challenge and with only a part of the song. Now, when you are hearing this song repeatedly, you're like, before you know it, it becomes in your subconscious. You start even singing the song. You now say, oh, who even sang this song? You go to look for it. You're streaming. You're giving them money. So public, right? Now, the other P is practical value. If your stuff is useful to a lot of people, then they are going to want to share it. People love being seen as useful. People love to, you know, share valuable stuff. Right. For instance, if you're watching right now, you're watching the news and you see that, oh, tomorrow there's going to be a storm, there's going to be a heavy storm in Lagos, Nigeria, or in wherever country, there's going to be a storm here, and from 8 a.m. to 8:30, everybody should be indoors. You saw that information. It's very useful to you because you're there or you have people there or people are definitely there. What's the first thing on your mind is to share, is to call your loved ones and say, hi, this is what I just saw. This is what I just saw. What are you doing? You're spreading the information. It's becoming viral. And you're trying to be the useful one. Because eventually, when tomorrow by 8 a.m. there's a storm, people will say, oh, my cousin, my brother told me. Oh, yes, yes. Joy told me. Oh, yes, Joy said it. So people, like I said, they're tying it back to social currency. People love to be the useful, smart ones. They want to be the one bringing value. So when people are talking about what they have done, they're excited. So yes, if you can tie your content to something that produces value. For instance, I shared one content talking about websites that people can use. I shared that content just generally. I'm very great with research. I research a lot, so I find out a lot of information that most people wouldn't know. I did that, found out this information, put it out, and guys, that content it took off, right? And I knew why it took off. It took off because people want to be useful. The same way I discovered that the website and I decided, oh, let me share this. That's the same way someone that sees my post will be like, there's a website that does this, and they'll share because they want to be useful. So yes, practical value, provide practical value, and that's something you should do. Now the final steps, the final letter in the steps is S, and it stands for stories. Stories stick. I can't even, you know how creators use stories. There are certain creators that I love how they interweave stories into their posts. So they're sharing the content, they're sharing something random, and they weave a story into it. And oh my God, suddenly you remember this thing so much. Why? Because there's a story. So if you follow Apostle Aaron, right? Apostle Aaron recently released a post about how the guy in the Bible that fell off a window while he was sleeping, he fell off, and how there was a wheel there that was put there to guard him from falling. And it was all what he was talking about was simply how these things sometimes you have guards, you have things that are set there to guard you in life, right? And if you go against that, then it will be to your detriment. That was what he was trying to say. And he could have easily come online and say, sometimes in life you have guards. He could have gone that way. But no, he used a story in the Bible. He talked about how this guy fell off from sleep. And you're wondering, what happened? Yes, what happened? Yeah. And before you know it, he has passed his message in a clearer way that you can't forget. So stories are very important. When you share stories with people, they are very eager to, learn from you. They want to share, they want to talk about your story. You'll be surprised that sometimes you share a story and people don't even know. People are sharing this story maybe to mock you, or maybe to just to hear to critique you in a negative way. But either ways, you are getting publicity, right? While you're sharing a story to try and sound negative to someone else, that person might see it in another light and say, no, I think this. Before you know it, you are the subject of the argument. It's you. And before you know it, they call someone, oh, you come and say, what do you think about this? They're sharing the video, they're sharing your message, they're sharing your content, they're sharing your product, they're sharing your service. And that's the whole idea, right? So if you tie things to stories, then they will sell. Yes, guys, these are the steps that Jonah Berger outlined in his book Contagious, right? I'm currently reading this book again because as some of you might know, I am launching my academy for writers very soon. In a few days, the academy would launch, and I'm trying to get all the strategies I can. I'm trying to just, launch in the best possible way. So, yes, I am very intentional about that. So, I'm rereading this book, get more strategies, get more value, more insight, and use it, right? So, I'll let you know, obviously, if you're a content writer or you want to get into content writing, we are opening an academy for you to learn how to be a writer better, right? I'll give you more information, but for now, you can follow my Instagram page. That's where I would really share more details. Follow my Instagram page. I've linked it in the description box, right? And yep, that's it, guys. I'm sure that if you go to this point of the video, you've picked one or two knowledge that you can use to start creating viral content, and that's my point. That's the whole idea of this video, right? So thank you so much for staying to the end of my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.